Welcome to Mindflow Radio.
We are creating conscious community by sharing mindful manifesting skills and transcendental music.
We are all in this
Together.
Busy mind, how you do spin in so many directions, holding your many plates, thinking. Oh my busy mind, how do we let go of the past patterns and pave our way into the new world, free. It's a love rebellion, 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 Let there be peace. Let there be peace. Let there be peace. Let there be peace. Oh my busy mind, how I do wish to find a solution to heal our divided peoples. Oh my busy mind, it is time to be at peace. Take a breath. Be centered, grounded, rooted in this moment, in this moment, in this moment. It's a love rebellion, 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 it's a love rebellion.
Here we are.
The Mindflow Radio.
Mindflow Radio. She's Jai Lynn.
And he's Monte. And we are here sharing our love rebellion.
What's that mean to you, Jai Lynn?
It means that even when love is not popular,
Okay.
I love anyway and have compassion for everyone.
Yeah, compassion for all.
Try to put how's that saying go? Put the other person's shoe on? or something like that. Isn't that?
Walk a mile in their shoes.
Yeah, or even just put them on. I think it's
right.
It's the same.
So you're saying have empathy for everybody, and the way I take it is we all have issues, and essentially we're all trying our best,
right?
And we just have like different levels of confusion, and all of us have some confusion.
Absolutely.
So why not respect everybody?
Yeah, and we all have our traumas, and we all have our challenges, and we all have our sleepy minds that we don't know what we don't know till we know, and by then, like,
and we're being trained in a sense to be arrogant and to think that we do know, and then that leads to hatred for people who don't know.
Yeah.
But you're saying be compassionate for everybody, and I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, we all come from this human family that we've had our struggles over the last 10,000 years.
I think you're right.
All of us, all our ancestors have struggled and warred and crawled and scratched their way to survival.
I think there have been times of peace, though. I'm pretty sure, and my my source is Disney's Mulan, but China had a really long period of peace and prosperity.
Yeah, they did.
And
it was like 1,000 years, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, something like that.
That's cool.
And they had a system set up where there were different classes of people, but the lower class could speak to the higher class, and the higher class would listen to them, and they kind of worked things out.
Cool.
And they were all, they were essentially compassionate with each other. And that worked for a while. And then, so we can. And
who knows, at that same time, there might have been peace elsewhere too, but that's just the one that's recorded.
Absolutely.
And I mean, there was times of matriarchy that were peaceful from what I heard.
Probably,
this is all stuff that's not really in the history books, so we don't really know. But I do think there's been times of peace.
Well, and you better believe that peace started by people being compassionate to each other.
Right.
And
respectful.
Respecting each other.
The word that comes to my mind is rank, but I don't know if I really mean that.
No. I think you mean just be respectful to everybody because they're human.
Well, everybody has their expertise.
Right. That's true.
And you might know about the mind, and I might know about the soil, or we have our strengths, and if we work together, then we prosper.
Yeah, that's true. Especially if we get along.
Yeah.
By having compassion for each other.
Right. So
hopefully that's going to be part of the new era of humanity.
Yeah. So do you concur with love rebellion, or do you have a different vantage point?
I don't know. I love the idea that we're a part of this love rebellion. And a lot of times in my mind I go back to Jesus, and I'm not a Christian necessarily, but he was definitely a radical. He had this radical love philosophy. Love your enemies.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, that's radical.
Right.
But he believed it, and he had his reasons, and I believe it too. And it's not always the easiest thing. I don't know if I can do it necessarily, but I believe in it. But I do believe I can have compassion for everybody.
Right. And we're not perfect. We're not enlightened. And we're not claiming that we are.
No.
But we do try to be as kind and compassionate and understanding and accepting of all people, all beliefs.
Yeah. Well, essentially, I think we realize that everybody has issues, including ourselves, including everybody, including both sides, quote unquote, sides of the political spectrum,
Yeah.
This right and left thing where they're like disrespecting and being hateful towards each other all over the place.
Yeah. And I mean, we're in a new chapter.
We are. Here we are.
There's no arguing that one. We have a new chapter in our history and our country. And
I guess the question is if this new chapter is actually going to be different than the last chapter.
Yeah, I mean,
as far as the reality of human existence in this country
and
around the world.
Yeah. Time will tell.
Let's
I'm open. I'm open to supporting with positive energy, just like I was open before.
Yeah, we should.
I don't get my undies in a bunch when the person I don't like wins, I guess you could say. Well, I'm not usually a part of the two-party system anyway, but still, it's like, I know in the Bible and I know in my history in this life that we have been taught in our Church of Christ that you pray for the president, whoever it is. And that always seems to go well as long as it's the president that they chose. But if it's not the president they chose, let me tell you, there's a lot of kitchen talk.
It's interesting, because it makes me think of part of Buddhist philosophy is you pray for the happiness of your enemies.
Yeah.
Now that's a powerful thing.
Well, yeah. Isn't that the loving kindness meditation? Pretty sure, because loving kindness meditation is may you be happy, may you be peaceful, may you be healthy, may you have loving kindness. And so you say it for yourself, then you say it for someone you love, then you say it for someone you're neutral.
Yeah.
And then you say it for someone you're having a hard time with.
Okay.
And you do this until you feel neutral about the person you're having a hard time with.
Yeah.
And it has helped me.
Oh, nice.
Greatly with forgiving the past.
Yeah.
So that idea of loving an enemy doesn't really feel right, but loving what has hurt you, loving situations that have challenged your peace, challenged your authenticity.
Well, at least accepting. Acceptance is a big deal. I think that's kind of lacking.
Yeah.
In our culture in general, and the philosophy of our culture, but if we can accept people who we don't agree with, and who people who have done us wrong, instead of pointing fingers and shaming and blaming and hating, and because really, when you engage in that kind of process of shaming, blaming, and hating, your mind gets in the habit of shaming, blaming, and hating.
Well, I think it was already in the habit, right? Isn't that kind of part of the problem? Is that we're already in the habit? We're raised that way, even though you're not supposed to be the bully or the bullied on the playground. But when you're a kid, that's how it goes. You go to the cafeteria and you go try to hang out with whoever. It doesn't work out. If you're not the cool kid, you cannot sit at the cool kid table.
Yeah.
So we're raised into that. I don't know how it happens, honestly, but
the shaming, blaming, and hating.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a pattern of thought. It's a type of thinking. It's a philosophy. One thing I do know is if we are in that habit, if we're engaging in this shaming and blaming and hating, then when we make a mistake, we employ that same philosophy towards ourselves. And that's a huge problem. That's a huge problem because then our self-esteem tanks. And then we have more shame and blame, and then we try and direct it at others and blame them for that. And in reality, a lot of it is because we're shaming and blaming ourselves. So if we can get out of that habit.
And I don't know if this is another point or what do you call it when you don't agree? Debate. I'm not saying that it is that.
No.
But I'm saying that if you feel that you are less than, then you already have that vibe. You don't even have to be shaming and blaming. I think it's maybe a shaming of yourself.
Yeah, I would say that's kind of like shaming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was another point I had there, but I spent too much time trying to set it up.
Right.
Anywho.
Here we are.
Yeah. I know I wanted to talk a little bit about flow.
Yeah, okay.
And I think we can flow right over there into flow. And when we were talking about it ahead of time, we were talking about the difference between getting in the flow and being in the flow, right? Or no, go with the flow.
Yeah, that's saying go with the flow, which is kind of a philosophy of how to live. But then being in the flow, it's a state of consciousness.
Yeah.
So they're two separate things, essentially.
And you had the example. Would you like to share your example?
What was it?
Go with the flow.
Oh, I mean, people can use that as an excuse to do anything, really.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody in Germany in 1938 could join the Nazi party because they were going with the flow of things.
True.
But being in the flow is different. Being in the flow, I'm more interested in being in the flow than going with the flow. And being in the flow is being in that mind state of, essentially you have balance, you have a lot of awareness in your consciousness. And you're fairly very connected to the moment, I would say. And you're not overwhelmed by your thinking, chattering mind.
Present.
So,
very present.
Yeah. And that's being in the flow. I mean, and this SEALs, for example, they train and train and train so they can be in the flow together.
And they step into their roles, whoever is the expert of what, and they don't question each other like, oh no, I can do this. It's like, oh, you got this? Okay.
Yeah, any great team actually is in the flow. And it's a term that's fairly commonly used, but it's super important for us and for me to know when I'm in the flow. And that's perhaps why I train and the Tai Chi and meditation and yoga and music, et cetera, is so I can be in the flow. And music's a great time to get in that flow. I believe. Yeah. I mean, if you're in the flow while you're playing music, the music is...
Or even listening.
Way more effective. Yeah. Dancing is an expression of being in the flow some of the time. And it's a soulful perspective, I would say, rather than an egoic perspective.
Okay.
Yeah.
So going with the flow is just kind of the mainstream narrative?
Well, no, that's just an old saying.
Yeah, because... the reason why I wanted to talk about this is, we all have our plans, we all have our schedules, we all have our agendas, and this is going to happen at this time. And sometimes we just got to throw it out the window and say, okay, we're just going to go with the flow and figure out how this works. And we're going to get it done and it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And it keeps us from being upset and it keeps us from going to that blame, shame, guilt thing that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And so that's why I wanted to talk about flow, because that seems to be my life lately is just like trying to figure out, I have all these meetings and I'm supposed to be over here right now and let's do this over here right now and if I didn't have the ability to flow, I would be upset.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, on some level, going with the flow means having an open mind and not being too rigid in your planning. And I mean, there's a time for rigid planning, sure, but there's also a time.
It's like the skeleton of the idea.
Yeah, yeah. And any big project, you have to be fluid and switch gears when the time is right.
Totally, and that's. I would have said that's going with the flow. But
yeah, no, I would say that. I would say that too. But you can use that going with the flow as an excuse to do things that are not so great too.
Yeah.
I mean,
which I thought was very interesting because I hadn't really thought of that idea.
Yeah. Well, just like anything can be like twisted to
fit.
Yeah, to fit like negative things. Like I said, going to being a Nazi in 1939 would be going with the flow necessarily.
Yeah.
But if somebody was in the flow, they wouldn't want to do that perhaps.
Right. Because they'd be so connected with a higher power that they would feel you can go your own way.
Yeah.
When you're in the flow,
Yeah.
you go your own way because you can feel that intuitive, like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do right now.
Yeah, totally.
And
you're in touch
you don't
with your
care
intuition.
who thinks you're weird, or you don't care who hates you for it.
Or you might care, but you still, if you want to stay in the flow, you just go with it anyway. You stay in the flow.
Mm-hmm.
And you might care that people hate you, but...
Well, I think isn't that kind of part of the practice is detachment. So detaching from, I remember what I was going to say before is when you're looking outside of yourself for that validation so we were talking about, I don't even remember what we're talking about now, but the idea of looking outside of yourself for validation instead of looking inside of yourself for validation.
Yeah.
And that fits this as well, because if you're in the flow of your own knowing, your own connection to higher power, you don't need validation from the outside.
No, because essentially if you're in the flow, it feels so good.
Yeah. Just peaceful.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Peaceful
feels good.
Fulfilled.
Yeah.
And
satisfied.
And on your path, perhaps.
Yeah.
And that feels good.
Yeah.
And you feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
And whole.
But when you look to the outside, so I want to share the example he gave when we were talking about this subject earlier. And I just thought it was so uncanny. And he said, you're at a party and everybody starts shooting up with heroin and you're like, oh, I'm going to go with the flow. And I was like, whoa.
Oh, yeah, right.
That's interesting. So then I thought of the idea of, when going with the flow takes you down like a sinking ship, and instead of going with the flow is actually a graceful thing of going down the river and avoiding the blocks and stuff. So I thought that was really interesting.
Well, I guess...
Which goes with the Nazi example as well, but...
Well, if you look at it, I mean, maybe perhaps going with the flow is a great thing if you stick to your... Well, we were talking about philosophy earlier about being compassionate to everybody, including yourself, being respectful to everybody, trying to be a loving being.
Right.
And maybe if going with the flow means it takes you out of that,
right,
then it's not worth it.
Yeah. And that also ties into the idea of validation outside of yourself. Because if you're at the party and someone offers you something and you wouldn't normally say yes, but you feel kind of like, well, I want to fit in.
Yeah.
And you do that, then that means you're looking for someone else to validate you. But inside you could be like, nah, I don't do that.
Well, it kind of gets down to the idea that we each have personal philosophies, and that's whether we know it or not.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Whether we know it or not. And that's why it's so important to be solid in our philosophy so we're not pulled off our path.
Yeah,
I would say.
But being too solid in your philosophy and you're unopen to...
What if your philosophy is about being open, though? Words are tricky.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Totally. So do we have a mindful tip for folks?
Mindful tip. Yeah. It's called, I want to talk just briefly about metacognition and what that is, and one way of looking at it. And it's being the witness to your thoughts, right? And one way of looking at that is your consciousness is this projector. It projects your thoughts out onto a screen or a wall, let's say. And a lot of us identify with this projection on the wall. We think, oh, that's me. My thoughts are me. When in reality, we're the projector behind the thoughts. We're the projector. Our consciousness is the projector that's projecting the thoughts. And that's an empowering position to be in, because as we notice our thoughts, which is metacognition, if our thoughts are not in line with our philosophy somehow, we can change them, right? So if I'm having disrespectful or hateful thoughts about a group of people, let's say, I'll notice that, and I'll know that that's what is being projected on my wall or on my screen, and I'll go back to the projector and I'll turn it off.
Okay. Yeah.
So then so if we self-identify with the projector rather than the projected, we're empowered, and we can change our thoughts when we want to. And When the thoughts are in line with what we like, we can leave them. But being the witness to the thoughts is step one. So many of us are just caught up in just self-identifying with the thoughts, and that's why a lot of people can't change. Because the same thoughts just keep happening and happening and happening, the same old patterns.
Right.
And then, the thoughts lead to behaviors, and we get stuck.
So how do you turn off the projector?
By going into a mindfulness skill.
Okay.
For me, one skill that I've been using a lot is I breathe in, and in my mind I say the word so. And as I exhale, I say the word hum. And what it does is you blot out that chattering mind. So you're breathing in your mind saying so. Exhale in your mind. Make it loud in your mind. You're saying hum, plus you're exhaling all the way. So you're breathing a little deeper than you usually do. And you're breathing in so. And you're exhaling hum. Breathing in so. Exhaling hum. And ideally, if you really want to have that ability to turn off that projector, you want to practice that when you're just feeling like normal day-to-day, feeling, just say so hum a few times. And then when you notice through using your metacognition, through witnessing your thoughts, that your thoughts are not productive at that time, you can go into so hum and turn off the projector or re-steer it. But it's a real skill that requires training.
Yeah,
usually.
for sure.
I mean, it's not like you just save the so hum for when there's a problem.
Yeah.
It's not going to work then. You need to practice when you're feeling normal. Essentially, you practice every day.
Or just, regularly.
Yeah, regularly. And then when an upsetting thought or upsetting situation occurs, or you meet an upsetting person, and you want to change your thoughts, boom, go into so hum, and it quiets down the internal dialogue, the mental chatter, and then it kind of cleans the slate in a way, and you're able to project what you want to project, because you are the projector.
Right.
Well, and we all are, whether we know it or not.
So you can switch the reel whenever you want.
Yeah, right.
Once you know that.
Yeah.
Once you practice it.
And then you're empowered. And then you're empowered. So you're not just blown about, you're not just stuck in your old patterns of thinking and behavior.
Going with the flow of the past.
Yeah, right. I mean, in some of these patterns of behavior, they've been handed down for probably 10,000 years. And maybe they don't work for us anymore. Yeah. And maybe some of them do, but you have to make that decision for yourself. But the first step is to really just notice your thoughts and know that you aren't your thoughts.
Right.
And honor your mind.
The thoughts are a product of
your mind.
Moment.
Yeah. And if you're overdosing on Facebook, that's a really bad idea.
Oh, we gotta. So you did a week off.
Yeah, week off Facebook fast.
How did that go?
It was great. My mind settled down immediately. Immediately, once I made the decision to stay off it, and it was getting a little out of hand. I was out of balance. It's so addictive. It's like, oh man, and if it's addictive for me, I know it's addictive for other people.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I was thinking perhaps, I'm back into it now, and I'm thinking maybe every other day I should get off it, and I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet, but it was a good break. And I also stayed away from YouTube and the media.
Well, we watched the inauguration.
The news. Yeah, that was on day 7. I watched the inauguration.
Oh, okay. Day 7.
Yeah. And that was all right.
I didn't even think about it.
I wanted to see it.
I'm turning this on.
I was happy that it just like peacefully
it was nice.
Rolled on and nothing dramatic happened. And I'm sure those 25,000 troops in the surrounding the Capitol kept it quiet, which was...
Well, there was a lot of nice words too.
Yeah, there were. I mean, people were throwing out lots of words of love and unity and...
We can use
et cetera, et cetera.
I'll take it. Thank you.
Yeah. And let's embody that.
Yeah.
I mean, just culturally, boy, if we could embody unity and love.
And we really needed that. I literally felt a wave of peace during that inauguration. Like I felt like all the people who have been so upset over the last while just all of a sudden found peace. And I felt so happy about that.
Well, a lot of people did find it, and it's another whole other group of people were very discontent about it.
Maybe.
Oh yeah. But
it was just such a peaceful message. So
yeah.
I appreciated such a peaceful message. I really, really had my fingers crossed for that. So
yeah. Bernie Sanders was throwing off a lot of peace there in his mittens. And
yeah. He's all over the place. Yeah.
People are like, why was he wearing mittens? I'm like, to keep his hands warm. What do you think?
It's cold. It's winter. It's January, you know.
Dude's 80 years old, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd
be wearing mittens.
I'll be wearing mittens.
A couple scarves and my snow pants and
yeah. So perhaps this is some sort of new chapter for all of us, you know, and let's make the most of it because ultimately, you know, I talk about our mind as a projector. Besides that, our minds are like immensely powerful manifesting machines or instruments of manifestation.
Yep.
So what do we want to manifest? What do we want to manifest?
Peace.
And know whatever you're projecting on your wall, that's going to be what you're working on manifesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, essentially.
So, yeah. What you're projecting on your wall is a validation of what you are manifesting.
Yeah. So. And we all manifest our lives.
Yeah.
I mean, whether we know it or not.
Yeah.
And 99.9% of the people perhaps don't even realize it, but we're all manifesting our lives right at this very moment. We're manifesting. Yeah. So what do we want to manifest? And let's move in that direction. And I believe we are moving in that direction. A whole bunch of us.
Mm-hmm.
The tribe. The tribe.
The Mindflow Radio tribe.
I don't know. Well, that's part of it.
Yeah.
It's part of the bigger tribe of
yeah. So lots of gratitude out there to all y'all listening.
Yeah, indeed.
And enjoying this mindful expression of vitality that we share with you. And big thanks to Jeremy for
thank you, Jeremy,
helping us with this artistic project that we've so greatly wanted to manifest ourselves. And here we are in our own little team.
Yeah, true that.
Flowing and growing and healing and evolving and doing our thing.
Helping each other.
Yeah. So,
it's the beauty of working together, really.
And I do want to say that I'm leading a free meditation on Zoom, and you can get the link by going to sign up for our newsletter. And if you are signed up for our newsletter, then you might have to look in spam if you haven't found the newsletter, or it might be in a different folder. So just poke around your inbox and search IMI.earth or Integrated Mindfulness Institute. And if you haven't signed up for the newsletter, you can go to www.imi.earth and sign up for the newsletter. And we do a sweet little 30-minute meditation, guided meditation, and I play off the energies of the participants, and it is not recorded. So it is a very special event that I'm holding for free. So please join if you'd like.
When does that occur?
Oh, right. Mondays at 7:30 Central PM.
All right. Thanks for doing that.
It's only, it was great. It was really beautiful. Last week was the first week. And
nice.
We're going to do this for 7 or 8 weeks total and then reassess what we'll do next.
Yeah, that's great.
And if this has been any benefit to you, if you've enjoyed hanging out with us for this time, please share with your friends and your family. And always, anytime you want to hear us talk on a certain subject, please reach out.
Yeah.
Leave us a note. We'll talk about it.
Mindflow Radio.
Mindflow Radio.
We are all in this together.
Yeah. So this
for sure.
this next song that we're going to do is Monte's absolute favorite kirtan song. Kirtan is a way of chanting call and response, different mantras, generally in the Vedic tradition or the Gurmukhi tradition. And we're going to do Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing this chant, do you think?
A couple of years.
Yeah, since we went to Colorado, right?
Yeah, before that.
Yeah. But daily.
Well, I mean, I skip days all the time. But
Oh, now I know.
Yeah, it's true.
I remember we met this guy at this big festival. What was it called? Arise in Colorado at Loveland, Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
And we were at our camp and we had our youngest kids with us. It was really quite an adventure.
Oofda.
And this lovely gentleman came and visited us. I think, what was his name? It doesn't matter. It was some angel name.
It was a Russian name.
Oh, I thought it was an angel. But anyway.
He really was. He was different than everybody else at that place. He was just so high vibrational.
Yeah.
And then he's like, hey, I'm a Hare Krishna in disguise.
Yeah.
And he gave
it
me
was
some,
really cool.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And he gave me some reading material. And
yeah.
Ever since then
you've
I've been
chanting.
I have.
Yeah. So we have Monte's favorite version that we're going to share with you next.
Yeah. And this version is in a 5/4 time signature, which is maybe the only Hare Krishna in 5 that I've ever heard.
There was a time that we were traveling and we're driving along and I'm freaking out. I think there is ice on the road or something. And Monte starts drumming. I'm the one driving at the moment. He starts drumming on the dashboard and singing. And he knows that if he sings that I'll sing too, because I love when he sings. So he starts singing.
She's the only one that loves
I'm
it.
calming down. I'm calming down. I'm calming down. I'm like, okay, here we go. So I've found that this is a really great, he'll be chanting it in the morning and I'll just sit and meditate and listen to him. It's really a sweet time.
Yeah. The Maha Mantra.
Maha Mantra. It's meant to open the heart chakra.
Tulsi Gabbard
Tulsi
loves
Gabbard.
the Maha Mantra as well.
Yep.
Just want to say we met her and
she's really
spoke
cool.
with her briefly about that.
She's really cool.
Yeah.
We love her philosophies.
Yes. Indeed.
Yeah. All right, y'all.
All right, here we go.
Be well.
Peace out. Peace out. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.